Welcome back, everyone, to the fifth round of the Rocket Series Modern 1K. We have Quentin Sullivan on Rhinos and Greg Blakey on Humans. I am rejoined by Kazi. Welcome back, Kazi.
It's me. We did it. All right. So, 5-color humans versus
Rhinos.
yeah, that one. What do you think about the matchup?
Well, Greg has a lot of natural hate against Quentin's main board, and we'll definitely see how that plays. Quentin is on the 4 to 5 color list for Rhinos, which involves Leyline Binding, being able to cast Ardent Plea.
Shadow Prophecy.
Shadow Prophecy is also really dope. But then Greg has
3 copies of Lavinia in the main.
Yeah. And Thalia's.
3 copies of the really relevant one. 3 copies of Lavinia, multiple copy, and obviously like all the Go Fast humans, right? But the big one, 3 copies of Lavinia, a few copies of Sanctifier in Vec, which against Quentin's removal package is weirdly relevant. And of course, like the standard suite of like humans that go relatively fast and have like a non-zero amount of text on them outside of that. Looks like Greg is going to draw up to 11, which is a telltale sign of we're mulliganing. So it looks like Greg's going to be going to 6.
Looking at Quentin's list, I'm not seeing the normal stuff like Fury.
Yeah, there's definitely some of the more standard questing beast stuff that Quentin is not running in the main board. But it definitely looks like we're on the more like blue-white kind of version where we're running a non-zero amount of subtlety. Well, actually, I think it's the full 4 subtlety.
Yeah.
And we're running like 4 main board force negation. I don't believe we have any mystical disputes, but we're going to be on Murktide as like the top end versus the usual questing beast that we've been seeing pop up more and more.
I'm seeing the 4 mystical dispute in the sideboard, which is an interesting call.
Oh, absolutely. But when your deck has like the leyline bindings and things like that, man, you're a little bit less worried about what your opponent's doing because leyline binding is still a decent answer to the fairy.
Leyline Binding is pretty sick, but we got some stuff for Leyline Binding like main board Lavinia.
Oh yeah, talk to me.
Main board Lavinia is absolutely disgusting.
What a fun
It says if you do not have 6 lands, you cannot cast Leyline Binding.
It also says that if you have any number of lands, you cannot cast Crashing Football.
Crashing Football.
So
yeah.
Also relevantly counters the subtleties if Quentin decides to evoke them. And looking at Quentin's opener, which consists of 4 lands, 2 subtleties, and one of the cards that casts Rhinos off Cascade, could be pretty relevant here, especially with like this relatively slow start. Should he decide to chase Greg more aggressively and counter one of his turn 1 plays, Greg's turn 2 plays can be very powerful against his plan.
I'm looking at this sideboard for Greg, and it's absolutely disgusting towards Quentin. We have an Anointed Peacekeeper and 2 Meddling Mages.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely some interesting choices in the sideboard, but it looks like Greg is going to complete his mulligan. It looks like he's going to go to 5 against Quentin's 7. And he is on the play. So turn 1 Aether Vial is one of the best things that humans can be doing. Ooh, that Fire and Ice is looking mighty spooky from Quentin, though.
I also see a Violent Outburst and a Charlotte's Agent, plus 2 subtleties.
Yes, sir. All right, so looks like we're going to play Cavern of Souls, presumably naming human. Oh my lord, that card is beautiful. One of the new Lord of the Rings promos, correct?
Yeah, the box topper print. It's pretty hot.
Greg never shows up with anything less than the largest flex on the planet. I mean, look at that secluded courtyard.
Yeah, those are also expensive. It's like $12 promo on Uncommon.
Wizards doesn't like it when we talk about prices or call the deck scam or any of that.
Uncommon. $12 unfoil.
$12 foil Uncommon. Yeah, but it's so pretty.
It is.
It's so pretty.
Looks like we got a Zagoth Triumph, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely kicks off the plan that Quentin has of hitting a non-zero amount of Delirium with 6 cards, I believe, that say that on them in his deck. Or not Delirium, sorry, Domain, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And it does produce mostly off colors, those being, in off color, that being black. There's only 1 black card in his deck, and there's only 2 copies of it.
Correct. So we have the 4 Leyline Bindings and the 2 Shadow Prophecies. That is 6.
All things considered, he's still pretty happy to have that land in play. And then, Greg is not going to vial anything in. He's just going to tick up, and he's going to just kind of hang out. It looks like we're playing an Adeline, which is the real beater in his deck.
Yeah. This thing's insane.
3-mana X4, where X is the number of creatures in play, but whenever something attacks, it makes an X1. It makes a 1/1.
Oh, we're Pish Catching Subtlety.
Oh yeah. Go to the top of the library. Yes, sir. Getting rid of that Fire Ice is definitely non-zero for Greg.
Yeah, that's actually really relevant for the fire portion of that, for some of what's going on with his deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering the amount of X1s he plays, I mean, all things considered, mold to 5, you're not going to have the best start regardless. But getting an immediate 2-for-1 off the first card you decide to cast is not a bad way to play the game.
So are we if we're Quentin here, are we gonna come to turn play land in Charlotte's, or are we gonna play land pass and violent?
Personally, I am extremely scared of an activation of Vile. Not knowing the list, which I assume Quentin doesn't, even then I probably would not play directly into this Vile on 2 just because it can put in a Thalia in response to the Cascade trigger, which will immediately blank the Rhinos.
I agree with this.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing how Quentin is gonna focus on that.
Nah, come on, send it. Come on, you know you want to. Yeah.
Take that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cascade. Oh, he's letting him get the trigger, which means that we are not looking at Thalia or Lavinia, so Quentin is only going to be rewarded. Ooh, so close. Looking at extra cards.
Yeah.
Let's make 2 4/4s. I don't think Greg has an answer to this card once it's actually on the stack. He's just going to take a look at Quentin's list. He's going to notice that he is the domain version because he saw that copy of Shadow Prophecy.
He did.
Which means Greg can probably assume that there are a pretty reasonable amount of Leyline bindings in Quentin's list. Which is really good information for post-sideboard games. Especially considering that Greg is going to have to play one of those on the draw.
Yep. Greg has some answers definitely sideboard for this.
That being said, Greg does not have very good answers to these Rhinos on board.
Nope.
Yeah. He can outgrow them, but outgrowing them requires him to have pretty substantial amount of creatures on the board.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case.
We do get a Adeline plus a Thalia Lieutenant, right?
I mean, potentially. What are we violating?
Oh, Lieutenant now.
Oh, Lieutenant now. Okay, for sure.
We're ticking up. Okay. There's the Adeline again.
Where'd that come from? But, oh, ticking up the Vial. Yeah, that is interesting. I can't help but wonder what he wants to Vial in for 3.
I'm confused, too. I also was looking at playing the Adeline first, then violating the Lieutenant to give Adeline another counter to block Rhinos.
That's what I was thinking. Blocking Rhinos is definitely a plan here, especially considering he's already seen 1 copy of Fire and Ice, and there's only so many damage-based removal spells in the deck. But be frank with you, Greg plays this deck a lot, so I'm gonna trust him.
He does.
Yeah.
Looking at violating for 3, we got an Anointed Peacekeeper. Is General Kudrow a...
I believe that's a 3-mana human. I think it's white-black, and I think it does something with the graveyard and can sack humans to do more stuff.
Correct. Yeah. So, just at first glance, another Adeline, Anointed Peacekeeper or General Kudrow, but Adeline is also legendary, so I highly doubt we see that for another Adeline, unless he blocks, and he is going to block.
Yes.
I mean, if he vials in the General, that's also a Lord. Maybe that's what he's trying to get at, was the Lord.
And that's a pretty big deal, because the Lord also makes the Thalia's Lieutenant able to trade with the Rhino.
Yep.
Or, even better, it can actually just grow the Thalia's Lieutenant and allow Adeline to block. Greg's deck doesn't actually deal him much damage in his mana base, unlike a lot of other decks in the format. And so if this is a Lord and he draws a human, he's actually in a pretty good spot, and he'll have outgrown the Rhinos. It's the activation.
Yep. So it is
General
the Lord.
Kudrow. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a reader. Go ahead. Pick that up. Yep, that's a Lord. It's got other text. You can't do anything about that, Quentin, so it's just going to resolve. Oh, let's go! Violent Outburst for value, baby!
Oh, that's pretty insane.
All right.
General Kudrow says, whenever General or another human enters the battlefield under your control, exile a target card from opponent's graveyard. 2, sacrifice 2 humans, destroy creature power 4 or greater.
Yeah. So the reason why this is really good here, in addition to making more Rhinos, is that it's actually going to make both of these cards trade with each other. So this Adeline, which is on board a 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 4, 5, is still going to trade with this Rhino, but it is still something that this is a threatening board from Greg.
Yeah, it really is.
There are a lot of live draws here that he can hit that are going to make Quentin's life significantly harder. Especially considering with any human, the Thalia's Lieutenant does become a 5/5. At that point, if Greg is able to draw maybe 2 or 3 cards in a row that have relevant text, we're going to be in a pretty good spot. The shock is interesting. It looks like we're going to suspend... Ooh, I can't imagine what the shock is for.
I'm a little confused by that play myself. Maybe I'm not sure what he would be holding up. It's not white.
Yeah, no, at all.
Oh, maybe no, not even Shadow Prophecy.
No, Shadow Prophecy is way too much mana.
Copper.
It's a good card.
Coat Vanguard.
It's a good card.
It's pretty lit.
You should probably get rid of that. It's a good card. I think it's Ward. You beating Ward?
I don't think with this board state we're
I don't think
beating
he's beating Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah. 2 for 1 yourself.
Yeah.
All you, baby. Yes, sir. All right. So, this is going to be a pretty pivotal turn for Greg. If Greg draws almost any 3-drop... Oh, no. Did he bottom that card, actually?
Did.
Because he needs a better card than that in order to get this.
Yeah, because there's 3 Rhinos on the board.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're absolutely right. Trying to think of cards that could really do it here. Well, let's talk about Quentin. Okay.
Quentin says send it.
Yeah, that's easy. Sometimes you just attack. What is Quentin holding right there? Is that a leyline?
That is a leyline binding, and that is a very
interesting,
very good leyline binding
to play this binding. But hey, whatever. Oh no, it looks like what's going on here.
I think they're trying to determine if he's dead.
Okay, so the leyline binding went on the Thalia's Lieutenant, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, Greg was trying to determine if he was dead. He's dead.
But we don't have to talk about it too much more, it looks like. I mean, it's a mold of 5 against a deck that has a pretty reasonable amount of value. And Greg does want to go fast. Not having a turn 1 or 2-2 play is a really, really rough spot. But let's take a look at sideboards now. So, since he'll be on the play, let's go ahead and start with Greg. Looks like Greg's got 1 Sanctifier Invec, 1 more Sanctifier Invec, bringing it up to a total of potential 3, 1 Anointed Peacekeeper, 2 copies of Turark Dread Cantor, 3 copies of Dismember, 2 copies of Magus of the Moon, 1 copy of Phyrexian Metamorph, 1 copy of... Oh, 1 more copy of Jarina Dauntless General, 2 copies of Meddling Mage, and 2 copies of Chalice of the Void. What do you think is really coming in here?
We're definitely going to more than likely see another Anointed Peacekeeper, both Magus of the Moons, both Meddling Mages, and both Chalices. So Chalice is something just to slow Quentin down. Meddling Mage is going to just straight up name Crouching Footfalls. And you have Magus to kind of attempt to stop the domain stuff like Shadow Prophecy and Leyline Binding.
And importantly, Greg does not know that Quentin is packing a full 4 copies of Loring Revealed in his main, which makes it very easy for him to fetch Island with one of those and to fetch a Plains with one of his fetches.
Correct.
And also, green-red is enough for a lot of the Cascade spells in the deck. So, Quentin can play around Blood Moon better than some other decks.
Correct.
I think all of those are coming in. I think you're correct.
And then you're looking at Quentin's board, and I'm looking at these 4 Mystical Disputes if he's trying to play around Meddling Mage.
I don't like Mystical Dispute into this deck. Cavern of Souls plus Vial makes it a tough proposition. But if we go through the rest of the sideboard, we do have 2 copies of Beseiju, 2 copies of Draneth Magistrate, 1 copy of Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. 2 copies of Endurance, 2 copies of Force of Vigor, 4 copies of Mystical Dispute, like you said, and 2 copies of Questing Beast. I think that he might be able to bring in these Questing Beasts just because they're vigilant. Other than that, I think you're just sending it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of flexibility in this matchup.
No, for
unless
sure.
you're super worried about Vial.
Yeah, which I don't think is the winning play in this matchup, but you never know. We could see it.
I mean, Vial does slingshot you ahead.
It does do a lot of work for Greg's deck, but it's also one of those cards where answering it with one of those like kind of 2-for-1 cards is tough.
It is.
Quentin does have a reasonable amount of answers in the main with those 4 copies of Leyline Binding. Should Greg just play 1 land Vial and say go?
To be honest, too, Greg is on 3 planes, so those Beseijus don't always do what you want it to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's like a non-zero argument to bringing in... Oh, man, honestly, I just think none of these cards in Quentin's sideboard seem very strong. Again, like Questing Beasts, maybe.
I mean, Vigilance Death Touch can't be blocked by 2 or less.
Exactly. That's always getting in. And it blocks very well against Greg's deck, considering he can get out of range of those 4/4s. But other than that, I can't even see a card that really has an argument. I know Janus Magistrate can stop spells from being cast elsewhere, but Vial doesn't actually do that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. From my understanding, the Draneth is in this deck for when you play against Living End, where you board out Rhinos and you Cascade Trade into Draneth, and it's really difficult for them to win the game.
yes.
So that is my understanding of why Quentin's playing Draneth Magistrate in the board.
It is very haha funny.
It is.
And it does work.
It does.
It is a real
I think Quentin is just big sad that he has 0 copies of Fury in the 75.
For sure. I have to imagine that these games are going to get tougher post-side, because in addition to having all that technology in the main, Greg is also playing a ton in the side, and he saw the really important cards to know that are in Quentin's deck. Leyline Binding, Fire and Ice, those are cards that he can play around, not just within the game, but by siding out cards that are vulnerable to them.
Correct.
Yeah.
He also knows the tri-lands, so he can kind of maybe try to figure out what Quentin's doing with how he fetches.
Absolutely. And it looks like Greg is going to be taking another mulligan here, which is pretty unfortunate, but Quentin's going to join him. Both decks on 6.
I feel like Greg's deck mulligan's better than Quentin's right here, because Greg has such low-to-the-ground threats before turn 3, where Quentin is going to be forced to 2-for-1 himself to stop those threats.
Yeah.
Like a Lavinia on 2, and you're going to have to pitch cast that Subtlety.
Yeah.
And then what if you don't hit it on the following turn, you know?
And I honestly think that if he was on the play, Quentin would mulligan better because of the amount of 1 and 2 mana removal spells that he has. But Greg on the play is just so much more of a threat.
It's very explosive.
Yeah, if we're both going to 6, like, you're going to have to 2-for-1 yourself if you want to deal with the turn 1. And a lot of your answers to the turn 2 play are not 1 mana, except for exactly Dead Gone, right?
Right?
So,
yeah, deal 2 damage, dead.
And it's worth noting that if we're going to Dead Gone on turn 2, then we have to fetch and shock ourselves, which puts us off of Triomes and things like that. And looking at Quentin's list, actually, and we might be getting a little deep here, but looking at Quentin's list...
Well, not all the time. See, because you could fetch shock a Sacred Foundry, and then fetch a Zagoth Triumph, have Domain, and Leyline for 1.
Okay, for sure.
To hit dead and have Leyline on 2, but...
That makes sense.
You have to be committed to doing it, and it also is what's in your hand, right? You can't do that if Zagoth's in your hand.
I mean, Quentin is literally on Highlander of any land that does not say tap, activate, pay 1. He is running 1 of every single one possible, including the basics, except for Mountain.
Which Triomes is he on? He's on Zagoth and what?
I believe he's on Zagoth and nothing else. I think he's just on Zagoth, and he's also running the copy of Overgrown Tomb, which I find a little bit different, but considering he's actually playing the Shadow Prophecies, I get it. Oh, that's tough for Quentin. Opening up on a 6 where we might have to subtlety is unfortunate. But he's going to choose not to. Champion of the Parish is not the most threatening card for Rhinos.
Does he have the ability? He could have pitched Shardless. That makes sense.
The pitching Shardless is just such a tough proposition when you have to roll up on turn 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, this is
this is a puke open.
This is going to get out of hand real quick.
Champion's a big.
Yeah, we're just going to... Oh, yeah.
Now we gotta rip a. We
have to rip not only Cascade card, but
Cascade Scarlet.
other good stuff.
Okay, well there we go.
Yeah, just don't miss.
No, never didn't have it.
Yeah, just don't miss.
Never didn't have
just
it.
Don't miss. Like I don't know. I don't know why you would miss. I don't miss. You miss. I don't miss.
Oh, please.
Anointed Peacekeeper's a good one.
Please respond.
Yeah.
Don't do this to me, Quentin.
Yeah, come on.
Don't let that card get the battle.
No, it's all good. Trust me, you're fine.
Anointed Peacekeeper is rough.
Anointed Peacekeeper's fine. This is an okay card to let resolve, right?
Absolutely not.
We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna name Crashing Footballs and watch Quentin cry.
Actually, I don't think Crashing Football is what we name here. I'm pretty sure we name.
Thank you, Quentin. Yeah. Thank you.
Tap too much mana for that, but I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't think he matters.
Well, that is unfortunate because now we're definitely naming Crashing Footballs. Although there is a non-zero chance we just name Shadow Prophecy and he just never draws anything, but I think Crashing Footballs is probably a better idea. There's also a non-zero chance he named Misty Rainforest.
Troll. I love it.
Hey, listen.
Like Anointed Peacekeeper having Vigilance, people need to talk about that because if a Lord comes out, that's a 4/4.
That's a 4/4. And if we get 2 counters on this thing or a counter and a Lord, then it's a 5/5, and that is not a card that the deck deals with. Oh, we're just doing it. We're just doing it.
General Kudrow.
Yeah. How much life are we paying for this?
Domain, right? So you pay. It's 2 life.
Okay, 2 life.
You lose 2 life. You pay 2 cards. The rest go to the graveyard.
Yes, sir. All right, let's see. This fuels up a Murktide, right? Murktide's the only card you can cast that can block here.
Yeah, it's a little relevant right now because, you know, he can't whiff here.
No.
There's too much on the board for him to whiff right here. Well, I mean, there's a Violent Outburst.
Yeah. Violent Outburst is okay.
There's another Leyline Binding.
Yeah, it's taking Leyline Binding plus. I mean, let's see.
Does he have a land in his hand, right? Leyline Binding plus.
He does have a Misty Rainforest in his hand.
Okay, so Leyline Binding plus Violent Outburst means you can Leyline Binding the Anointed Peacekeeper, Violent Outburst into Crashing Footfalls.
And of course, Greg doesn't know this, which is also pretty important.
Correct. Yeah. He sees Footfall, Charlotte's Agent, and that's a forest.
Yep. And we're gonna go ahead and get in for 4. Which is a lot. Quentin being...
Yeah. And it's Vigilance.
Yeah, for sure. Quentin being at 11, not the most comfortable place to be. That being said... Oh, actually, losing that basic forest is very relevant. Because it means that Quentin now has to shock with that Misty Rainforest if he wants to be able to follow up with Leyline Binding.
Correct.
Yeah. Of course, he could just draw the white fetch. Let's see.
Or the Beseiju.
I don't think the... Well, no. Beseiju does do it, right? Because you play
Yep.
Beseiju.
Yep.
And then, yeah, you're absolutely
So you're going to
right.
play Beseiju, you're going to Leyline Binding Anointed Peacekeeper, and you're going to pass. And then if anything happens, you're going to Violent Response.
This is a little bit of a weird one. But
Oh, nope. He says, I'm playing them
No,
as
we're
they
taking
send
it all. Taking it all.
He
Yes,
said,
sir.
he said no.
Yes, sir.
He said no Aether Vials are hitting this board.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, Greg with a rough draw here, though. That is his fifth
Yeah.
land, and humans never wants to see that.
No.
Absolutely not. Oh, we're going to get in. This could spell death. Let's see.
Please sequence this right, Quentin.
Ooh, actually, that Anointed Peacekeeper, if it is naming the...
Crashing Footfalls.
Crashing Footballs, if he decides to sequence this incorrectly, he could very easily die.
Correct.
I don't think Quentin remembers that Forest went to his graveyard. Let's
you're
watch
not.
the body language and see
I think you're right.
if that forest is in his graveyard. Because it could be plains. I can't tell. Those oil slick
No,
lands
that
are
is
impossible
100%
to
a
see.
forest. I can see the green.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah,
I
it's a
believe you.
forest.
Did you just poke the monitor we're watching the stream on?
Yeah.
That's illegal.
It's a point.
Ah! He's poking it. Chat, tell him to stop.
That is Cavern. That is Cavern of Souls. It is the Lord of the Rings Cavern of Souls.
Quentin has figured
So
out.
yeah, we're shocking.
We do have to die a little bit for this.
Yikes.
We're going 8.
Oh man.
Going 8.
Oh, okay, so
Okay,
Quentin
we're
does
doing
know
it.
how to play
We're
Magic.
doing it.
I
We're
love
doing
it.
Okay, trigger. Target general. Oh, no, he figured it out. He sees the line. All right.
I gotta give it to him. He had to be nervous.
Greg is going to be sad here.
Quinn's my boy, but he had me nervous.
All right, trigger. Let's see. Greg is really thinking about this extremely hard. All right, we're just gonna flip cards.
So this is
Did
a
bring back
really
Questing Beast.
this is a really bad block for Greg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing a way out of this for Greg. Quentin's Shadow Prophecy was very good.
I think most of Greg's answers are not 2 rhinos on board.
No, they're
just-
absolutely not.
They just prevent him from playing the card in the first place.
Correct.
And if we don't do that, we get into a pretty bad spot pretty quick.
Oh, tap 5 mana Solitude? I don't hate that. And
Wait,
then-
no way. We have solitudes in this
Yeah.
deck? Wait, what? I mean, of course we do. I looked at the deck list. I know that.
You also solituded
I know
the
how to
one.
read.
You also solituded one blocking the general, so you kept your general.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a place where Greg can find himself salvaging a win. Because
Is that a Fire and Ice in Quentin's hand? I cannot tell.
Fire and Ice is actually not super great here because there's not much it's really doing. This Adeline attacking with this general though is a serious problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the Adeline is an X5 currently, and it makes a 1/1, which is a 2/2, but more importantly, it makes a 1/1 that basically turns on his general. Makes Greg able to sacrifice them in order to exile more copies of Rhinos.
Correct.
Yeah. So Quentin's probably just gonna need to rip straight up one more time. Like he just needs to find another copy of one of the cards that allows him to make 2 4/4s, and so far it looks like he's not doing it. This Fire and Ice in his hand is kind of boiling. He could use it to tap down this Adeline so that it can attack, which is reasonable.
I like that play because you also draw a card.
Yeah.
And you can draw into Violent Outburst and also cast it.
For sure. But this does give Greg a draw step.
It really does.
More importantly, perhaps, Quentin is just in a place where he is going to have trouble winning the game unless he finds one of those cards.
All right, let's see if he's a Chad.
Yeah, let's see if he's got it. He never misses.
Is that a
that
Leyline
Leyline
Binding?
Binding?
Oh my goodness.
The matchup's so good.
Just always have it.
Yeah, just don't miss. I don't know. I think it's also relevant to note that it looks like
Oh, we're gonna see a response.
yes, sir.
There she is, the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh man, and Quentin is gonna Oh.
You're not casting Leyline Binding?
Ain't no way.
Did-
Okay, he's picking up the land.
I think he's trying to decide what to get rid of. Do we get rid of Adeline or General here?
It's really hard to decide.
It
Because the
is.
thing is, when that Lavinia enters, I think it makes a 1/1 or something like
It
that.
does.
Yeah. And I think we missed one of the 1/1s already, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and play Leyline. We're going to target that. Yeah.
Oh, no, he never got a combat step to declare combat because of ice.
I thought it made one off of the General, no?
No.
General says whenever something... Oh, exile 2 cards make a 1/1? Oh, okay. Oh, so he's going to start doing that this turn because Quentin has a full graveyard. Or not.
I think let me...
How does this card work?
Yeah.
Yeah, pull that up. General Kudrow or another human enters the battlefield, exile target. Okay, so maybe
No 1/1 making.
Oh, so it doesn't make the one.
Yeah, no, you sacrifice 2 humans to destroy something for greater power.
Okay, for sure. All right. Well, still, this Lavinia is
Adeline
really...
got tapped from Fire and Ice, which also drew him that Leyline binding, which he just bindinged.
Oh, and he drew a Violent Outburst.
Oh my! Just have everything, Quinn.
A skill game. Don't know what to tell you. Better. Yeah, skill game.
The taunt, flex, solo attack.
This is so rude.
He. Oh man.
It's so unfortunate.
Valuable
Although, to be fair,
Lieutenant.
Violent Outburst doesn't actually do anything here.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because the Lavinia's on board, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Now, Subtlety does do something. That is a card. But that's that Solitude is actually representing like a really difficult thing to deal with. Yeah, just because the life gain is so relevant. Oh, we're gonna double block the Rhino with Solitude and General. I think what Greg is saying is that he's gonna play more for this Lavinia than he will for the power on board.
I agree.
And
that
then-
Lavinia is pretty rough.
This, I don't think this does what he wants it to do.
Oh, we killed General here. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Actually, we can. No, he double blocked the Rhino.
I have to assume he double blocked the
Yeah.
Rhino because the Subtlety flies.
Yeah, we're killing the.
Whoa,
we're killing the
Greg,
General.
let him cast the spell, brother.
Oh my goodness, does he not? Oh, he's getting the +1/+0.
Yeah, he's getting the +1/+0. The Cascade trigger is like it is a May cast, so he can shuffle and put that card on the bottom of his
Yeah.
library. But I think General is a 2/4, correct?
No, he's a 3/3.
Oh, he's a 3/3.
Yeah, you have a
Okay.
3/3 and a 3/2.
Then this is fine. Then we're gonna trade, and we're gonna be pretty happy about it.
Yeah, we are.
That being
getting
said-
both. Now we have to draw an answer for Lavinia.
Humans deck with an answer to almost every relevant draw in your deck is not.
What a rip!
I mean,
That's so good.
we knew it was there.
Another.
Sometimes it's just
Ah.
that easy. Yes, sir. Exile a card. Get rid of it. And then we're gonna get in with a 3/3.
So we basically have to draw dead, gone to get rid of Lavinia and Violent Outburst.
Yeah, in the same turn.
Yeah.
So Quentin's just gonna go ahead and pick it
Yeah,
up.
scoop it up.
Good, excellent play from Greg though. Really getting to his outs.
That was actually a really interactive game. It was
There
one of the
were-
better ones we've had today.
And there were points where true. There were points where that looked more or less unwinnable for him.
It did.
And that really just goes to show you that Greg has a really deep understanding of his deck. Like, honestly, he really does. He plays this deck, not to spoil it for my other SoCal RCQ grinders, but he really likes to play this deck.
He also slow played that Solitude like a champ.
Absolutely. That Solitude...
That was good.
I mean, curving out to 5, hit the Solitude is the only way the 5 lands are good. It's like, yeah. And, like, Quentin made what I feel like were pretty reasonable decisions throughout the game. I don't play the deck well enough to know if there was something else he could do. But I think Greg just had a really good game plan and switched gears really effectively. Yeah, Michael is pointing at the screen. He is noting that we have caught a shiny Quentin instead of a normal IV spread Quentin.
This man is bitter. I love you, Quentin. Shout out.
No, but
You're
look,
not happy.
He's glowing though. Like, look at him.
He's got his eyes in the sky, praying for Jesus, as he said.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Quentin, you're killing
Oh
me.
man. I mean, maybe he feels a little bit off because of the way the game state looked. But I think it's important as Magic players that we not get down on ourselves when we're playing, especially if we know that we're playing well, right?
Honestly,
And
he's probably questioning what he did, but I think he played that really well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have better information than he does.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe he feels like he could have played around something that he maybe couldn't have because we know what's going on. He also could feel like his opponent top decked that General, which he kind of did.
And the Solitude.
Yeah.
That and the Solitude.
Yes, sir.
So we have to keep Lavinia off the board, and
Yes.
I don't know how we're doing that. 'Cause
We're not.
We got
We
dead
gotta-
gone, and that's it.
The thing is, if Greg doesn't mulligan, it means that he's probably got 2+ answers. And it's ridiculous. Like,
He
there's
look,
just...
looked like he already mulliganed once. So that's a positive for Quentin.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Greg mulliganing every game, though, is like probably not where he wants to be. But at the same time, we just saw how powerful the Greg's draw can be on a mulligan. Even if it was facing a mulligan, there's just a lot of cards in Greg's deck that Quentin does not deal with very efficiently, especially when you pair them together.
Nor has he seen these cards in a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is that this is less an issue of like Quentin maybe not playing around them correctly, but more that like Quentin didn't come ready to play against humans when he's more or less playing a winning in for top 8.
Yeah.
It's just a really complicated place to be, and but it's worth noting that his main deck plan is just very good against what Greg does. It is really good against what Greg does, even without the Furies. And Greg going to 6 means that those cards that Quentin has that are so powerful on the play are significantly more live.
I don't know what Quentin was speaking, but he definitely was not very happy.
Should we do the thing that they do on like reality TV shows where we analyze the body language?
I mean, look at the hand on the chin. He's resting his forehead on, or his chin on his hand.
See, but I don't think your body language show's done until you have your head in both hands, and then you just call it at that point, right? Like we're just not feeling it.
This man was riding the hype, and now it's gone.
I mean, it still looks good though. Like that's the thing is that on the play, the match was so much better.
I agree. Keep Lavinia off too, and you should be fine.
If we could post start on 7s though, like that'd be kind of neat. Oh, this hand looks
a little bad.
Ugly.
Yeah, you got Shadow Prophecy, Subtlety, no fetches.
Yes, sir.
It was shocks and basics.
I mean, it's synergy, right? You have 4 lands and a Subtlety.
Yeah, we're not making it to 4 lands.
That's just a combo.
I don't mind this mulligan from Quentin. Greg, however, kept Aether Vial, Solitude, Adeline, land, 3
I think that's double Solitude.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. I don't think double Solitude is actually where Greg wants to be, but if he does get there, Solitude is probably his only real way of answering Rhinos on board efficiently.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's hard to deal with that 3 life.
I don't hate it because starting on Vial, like this game either has some very non-turns or it gets to the point where he can either cast it or leave Vial up.
And unless he telegraphs that Vial is what he's doing, which is possible if he's on a 1 or a 2 lander, it's very unlikely that Quentin decides to dedicate an entire copy of Leyline Mining to it versus the threat. And I'm not even saying it would be correct to do so. It would just so happen with the way that Greg's hands look, it might work out. This hand, on the other hand, looks very, very strong, except
he has. I mean, I don't think this is a horrible hand to keep because you have Lauren's Revealed.
Yeah.
You do have the Shock, and you are stuck on 2 lands, but you do have Dead Gone, you do have Fire and Ice, you do
2
have
copies. Yeah.
You do have the what's the other thing I've seen? The Leyline Binding. There we go.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't hate this.
This Lorien Revealed can't really find a super efficient source because it can't find a white source here if he wants to cast those red spells on turn 2.
Correct.
But I mean, it's going to 5 in the smash.
Is he getting Steam Vents?
I think he has to get Steam Vents.
I think he has
he's
to.
Forced to. Yeah. I mean,
this would be the greatest Jeskai Triumph if you had it.
Yeah, for sure. But even the Jeskai Triumph is not great here.
He can get Zagoth if he's trying to set up for
Yeah, but
no, because you shut off Fire and Ice. Yeah, you have to get Fire and Ice. Or Sacred.
He didn't side out Steam Vents, did he?
Steam Vents. There's no way he sided out Steam Vents.
Ain't no way.
He doesn't play Gemstones, so why would he fight out lands?
For fun.
Stop it.
I mean,
there it is. Stop it. This man doesn't play Gemstones. He ain't siding out lands.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Like, I've got lands. I have a friend who's literally playing Mutavault.
Cover your ears, chat. Cover your ears.
Mutavault in Wizards of Tour in Rhinos. You heard it here first.
Cover your ears.
Yes, I'm telling you, he doesn't understand.
Cut your ears, cutting lands.
Cut the land.
No Gemstones.
You're bringing in Blood Moons. Cut lands.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna see that Shock Steam Vents.
Okay. Almost certainly, yeah.
Yeah. The question is, does he?
Fetchland is very good here, though.
Yeah, I actually like the Fetchland here. I was thinking Shock Steam Vents and then ice the cave or the cavern to like essentially time walk.
Oh, I think he might be thinking about binding this Vial.
Yeah. What is he getting here with it?
Like he gets Sacred Foundry or any other like land that makes red/white.
I think it has to be Sacred Foundry. And I think you're right.
Sacred Foundry is the best one.
Do we like this play? Do we like getting rid of Vial right now?
It happens to have worked out, and that is all I will say about that. This will happen to be good against what Greg's plan is. I'm not sure I agree.
I don't dislike this play. I think in my head, let it tick up to 1. and ice the cavern.
If we are ever letting this vial tick up to 1, we are not leyline binding this vial. That being said,
I mean, what are we putting in for 1 that we're really worried about that he's not going to just instantly cast right now?
not too much, but I'm saying that's why I'm like kind of off of this.
Yeah, I like. Oh, we're gonna have to cast dead on that.
I mean, there's plenty of removal rolled up for this, but this is not something that Quentin's gonna deal with very well.
Quentin said that card was printed before I was born.
Yes, sir. Hey, wait, me too.
Stop it.
Wait, when was Invasion? 97?
Listen, you can't stop it. I'm not that old.
That's my birthday.
I'm not
babe.
that old. Quit.
I mean,
Quit.
sounds like it.
Quit.
Okay, boomer.
Quit.
All right, let's see. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this.
Yeah,
Mage.
get out of here.
Yeah, can't have that.
No. I think we
Double
should.
Solitude looking worse and worse as this game goes on.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think we. Here we go. Now he's gonna do it. Now he's gonna. Yeah.
Ice. Yeah.
Ice the cavern.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Ice that. Yes, sir.
Draw your card.
Draw your card.
We drew a land. It looks like.
For sure. It's worth noting he doesn't have any Cascaders right now. So even if Greg, okay, Champion of the Parish not bad. It will walk into one of his removal spells pretty
Correct.
easily.
So if he plays something, you can respond to the trigger and actually kill it.
I think.
So he's got Fire and Ice, basic Forest, Lauren's Reveal.
I think he's gonna look to cast this Lorien Reveal, honestly.
All right, so I'm gonna respond to
yeah.
the trigger, and I'm gonna
Yes.
kill both and let you
Yup.
not draw a card by tapping.
Yup.
This is juicy.
Yes, sir. Trigger. Oh yeah. 2. Both these. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's juicy.
Pay for the trigger. Okay.
That was really juicy.
Later.
So
3.
what are you following up
Adeline.
with?
Adeline.
Oh,
Adeline is good here.
How do we have 3 mana?
Adeline is good here. He only paid 1 for the Esper.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Mhm.
Oh, Adeline's so.
And if he draws another land, those Solitudes suddenly go from not very good to incredible.
Yeah, now we're drawing
I like this draw
5.
three. I like this draw three.
Drawing 3, tapping 5.
Love just draw 3.
Subtlety, Misty. I couldn't see the third one.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been some type of land again. Let's see.
Coppergoat
Vanguard,
Vanguard's
very good
kinda-
here.
Kind of not good.
I don't think this earns a subtlety, but
No, but it's.
oh yeah,
yeah.
that's a lot of damage. That's that 1, 2,
Tap and
3,
attacking.
4, 5, 6. Yeah.
So, Charger fan, yes, there will be decks. The top 8 decks will be posted. It'll more than likely be either tomorrow or Monday.
Charger fan.
Yeah.
This is a San Diego store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I won't say anything. I
I
want
also
to
need to close this because my phone is starting to get wrecked.
Let me see if I can get one up on my phone because we should be interacting with Twitch chat, which is something I'm terrible at. Love you, Twitch chat. Let me see.
Yeah, I've been doing that for most of the day. My phone's getting wrecked.
For sure, I got you. So what did Greg draw here? It's not a land.
Oh, Chalice of the
Oh,
Void.
Chalice? Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, that's real good. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, this looks like a wrap for Quentin because he can flash and subtlety and block, but Adeline just go run this game over.
Yeah, Adeline might just end it on her own,
I
honestly.
think.
If he shoves with this Coppercoat Vanguard, it's possible that he finds enough outs, but it's going to be really hard.
I feel like he whiffed on that Lauren's Reveal pretty rough.
I agree. I mean, Quentin is playing the extra copies of the Cascade cards to hit them, and he just hasn't this game. But also, it just be like that sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, he's not on any Ardent Plea.
Oh, really?
I'm not seeing any. I think it's just for Leyline Binding.
Oh, so I guess he's on
and
those...
Shadow Prophecy.
The Shadow Prophecies are over the Ardent Pleas, I suppose? Do you think
Yeah.
that's what's happening?
I think that is what's happening.
Okay, for sure. Let's see.
So we have a dead and we have a gone. Oh my god, that's just too much mana
That's
to tank.
so much damage. Okay, so we're gonna... What are we deading?
Looks like we're gonna
Okay,
dead
so we're
that,
gonna
but
dead this
still
thing.
almost die.
Yeah.
Adeline's gonna deal 3, 4, 5. We go to 2.
Adeline is gonna deal 5.
She deals 2, and then
she deals 3. She
Yeah.
deals 3 right now.
and then the 2 humans deal 2, so it's
If
5
he doesn't
damage.
flash in the subtlety to block, which I think
I
is not an
think-
unreasonable play.
Yeah.
If he top decks Violent Outburst, though, this can get very difficult for Greg very quickly.
Chalice will shut down Violent Outburst.
Oh, actually, you know what? We know Greg still has 2 Solitudes in hand, correct?
we do.
Yeah. So we may see We may see one of those come down here. No, it'll resolve. Okay.
Yeah, I think Greg is going to wait for mana management at this point because he's so far ahead and has
Yeah, for sure.
Chalice.
And also, the Solitudes are just so much better with one more land. So.
Correct. So Quentin not only needs a Cascade spell, but he also needs an answer to Chalice.
Oh, well, Oh, the Chalice is on the board. I forgot about the
Yeah.
Chalice. Oh, that's so brutal. Okay. I mean, the human replenishes itself, so Greg is just going to attack with it every turn.
Yep.
1.
Oh,
Champion.
that's gross.
Oh,
Oh, that's game. That was a quick pickup from Quentin.
Yes, sir.
That's just unfortunate luck. Those were good games, though. Definitely good games. He played that pretty smart. You can't really be upset.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just Greg has so many answers in the deck. And it's so hard to play an entire game, especially considering they're actually somewhat diversified. It's so hard to
Shout
play
out to
a whole
Quentin,
game.
though, for grabbing and reading Meddling Mage.
Yeah, for sure. What do you know what Meddling Mage does?
Yes.
Oh.
As it enters, name a card. The card cannot be played.
Yeah, no, I don't
It's
know
like
what
True
that
Name Nemesis. You don't get to interact once it enters.
It
enters with.
I don't play with cards that are older than me. I have like a rule. So
Look, I played Meddling Mage when it dropped.
Yeah.
So that's gonna do it for round 5.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have a round 6, and we're definitely gonna have a camera match. We just don't know if it'll be one of the top tables because there's presumably going to be some draws.
Definitely a non-zero amount of draws. But for now, I think that's the point where we kind of get like caned off stage and we have to sign off. I think they're discussing sideboard stuff though. It looks like I'm sorry, I'm just interested in this. Looks like both those questing beasts came in like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Both the Megasis from Greg, Meddling Mage, Anointed Peacekeeper, the whole 9. Yeah, that all makes sense. That all makes perfect sense.
Score.
All right, sweet.
That'll
Well,
do it for round 5. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.